Hey guys, this is Kevin Purcell with the Theotek Podcast and all of my friends ready to talk Apple. But before we jump on that, this is our 100th episode. Woo! We should have had I don't know, some streamers and balloons and everything falling from my ceiling and all your ceilings.
It's too bad they took away all those cool tools and Hangouts. We could have done that.
Yeah, we could have. But after 100 of these things, I think we'd all be giving up on this stuff. But no, we're still here. And we thank both of you for watching.
What's really sad, though, Kevin, is that you said we're all your friends. So this is it.
All my friends. Both of my friends are in this thing. You guys get to decide which ones are really my friends or not.
Man, that sounds like a good Joker to the death there. A little dark.
Yeah, maybe we ought to do like voting people.
He has one opening.
Who's left at the end of season 12? No.
Yeah.
But let's just introduce everybody real quick. Antoine, say hi.
Hi.
And La Rosa.
Hey.
And there's La Rosa. We have Rick Mansfield.
Good morning.
Hi, how you doing?
And I didn't say anybody else's last name except you, Rick. It's the beard.
Huh, I wonder why that
is. It is the beard. He's looking rather
yeah, so people would recognize
it. Commands respect.
Maybe.
You know who else commands
La Rosa, I think we've been disrespected for our goatees.
That's it. It's well, yours you can hardly see, Antoine. I mean, it's because it's so small and little. Rick's like covers most of his face.
This is my Norse DNA coming out.
And his is different. Yours is, you've had yours for like as long as I've known you, I think. Haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Doesn't come on.
You know. Anyway. Anyway, so what we said we were going to talk about Apple. Yesterday, Apple had their keynote at WWDC 2017. And it always cracks me up that they use that WWDC. And, of course, I titled this episode WWJD at Apple WWDC. We're really not going to talk about what Jesus would do at WWDC, but I just thought it was cute. So they announced a bunch of things, kicking it off with a little bit of news about tvOS, very little. What did they say about tvOS that was of any interest?
One thing. The one thing was Amazon Prime coming. But other than that, Netflix still does not work with the TV app, so it's kind of useless.
Yeah, the TV app is nearly useless. I mean, I don't think I ever open it except when it sort of forces you to on occasion.
Yeah, I changed the default settings so that it doesn't go to it.
Yeah, I need to do that. I haven't. I know you can, and I just haven't done so yet. All right, so let's move on. watchOS. All four of you, I think, are still watchOS and watch users. I'm no longer. I've got a Samsung Gear S3. So what was exciting about watchOS? Antoine, I bet you probably, being somewhat more of the workout kind of guy, is that they talked a lot, I think, about some of the workout stuff. And
yeah, the workout updates are impressive. Being able to track high intensity interval workouts, that'll actually.
So for chubby guys like me, what is that?
That's running for more than 2 seconds, stopping for less than 1, and then running for more than 2 seconds all over again.
More than 2 seconds. So if I run for 2 seconds and stop for 1, and then more than 2, I've done a
So you get your heart rate up. Yeah, you get your heart rate up. You take a very, very short break, and then you go back again. So like one of my workouts would be sprint for 200 meters at about 70% of my top speed. Slow down to a jog for 50 meters and then do that sprint again for 200 and do that about 8 times. And that would be my workout.
Okay.
So for folks that do that or CrossFit, high interval training, where you get your heart rate up and you really want to keep your heart rate, in that fifth zone, that very high zone, Apple Watch will have the workout to be able to go ahead and work with that.
And then wasn't there something to do with workout equipment?
Yeah.
What was the problem and how are they fixing it?
Not fixing it. So there's a Bluetooth spec. There are a few Bluetooth specs and one not Bluetooth. Ant is one of them. Ant Plus is another one. Bluetooth for athletic equipment is another one. And then there's Bluetooth Smart. And a lot of the newer equipment that's coming out from some of the big folks are going to be effectively, because everybody's either has an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, that fitness side of the market, they want to support those wearable devices to be able to send information back and forth between your gym equipment and your wearable device. And so the newer Apple Watches, I'm guessing it's likely going to be more hardware updates there. So maybe first generation like mine probably won't support it, but Series 2, Series 1 likely will. If there's a Series 3, that likely will as well support connecting to this newer equipment.
No, it should work with all of them because it's just using the Bluetooth LE.
If it's just LE, yeah, but if it's not, which is good because that means you can actually get your steps. If you're doing an incline machine, if you're doing the row machine, you can actually get your row workout in, and heart rate as well as stroke length and all that other good fun stuff that happens off of those devices.
Is this the kind of thing that like say, if you go to the gym down the road, will they just be able to update their equipment software, or will they have to buy new equipment to get it?
If they've bought new equipment in the last 3 years, they should be fine.
They should be? Okay. That was my first thought when I first heard it. I was like, yeah, but no one, how many gyms are going to buy all new equipment?
You'd have to only go to new gyms.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the gyms, which is really cool, Percor, Polar, and a few of the other companies, they really have been pushing these connected gym equipment. So when you go to a gym and you look, and if you see a gym, device and it has the TV on it and the computer screen, it's likely connected to a nice fat internet pipe, and all of those devices are connected, which is pretty neat for a lot of the newer gyms. Maybe the smaller gyms wouldn't have it, but everything from your Planet Fitness, Gold's Gym, even your YMCA's, are cycling to that type of equipment where they can actually get your training load, your watts, all that kind of information that's really great for the gym, for them and their facilities, and knowing how people are using the equipment, what wears and what doesn't wear down. But then that benefit of being able to connect to your watch so that you can get more refined stuff, a lot more refined information and data.
I think you explained it better than they did.
Probably, because I know more about it now listening to you than I did ever listening to them.
Yeah, another workout thing that they added was the ability to do multiple workouts that are different types. So you can finish up one workout and add another one on top of that, which kind of hits the triathlete crowd a little bit. That are moving from like swimming to biking to running, or however you want to do it. Like if you're at the gym, moving from one thing to another.
Yeah, that's helpful because the whole start-stop thing isn't.
It wasn't all just workouts, though. They've got some new watch faces.
Yeah, you got the Siri watch face. So
what's on the screen now?
Yeah, that's on the screen now. So the Siri watch face is proactive. So it does what Siri kind of does now when you're on your iPhone or iPad, and it shows you, traffic upcoming for your next appointment, or you've got things upcoming, anything that's connected to a widget. It works like that. It gives you this widget interface to let you see what's coming up ahead, and you really have Siri kind of in two ways. Instead of just to open your arm and go, "Hey Siri," you can or hit your digital crown and do "Hey Siri." You now get a complication for Siri as well, so you can activate Siri and take advantage of some of that personalization that Siri is doing on the watch device.
All right. Anything else that stood out to any of you guys?
For the watch?
Yeah.
The watch kit. So the stuff that they didn't announce there, but as part of the update, watch kit is getting a few updates so that more third-party applications can take advantage of workouts and other data. So one of the demos that they had during there was a blood pressure monitor that'll be able to connect right to the watch. Won't have to go through the iPhone app to do so. It'll connect directly to the watch to be able to store your information from your blood pressure meter, and a surfboard that connected to it as well, which was actually pretty cool. So stuff like that, where devices can connect directly to the watch. They don't necessarily have to go through the phone or an app on the phone and then be passed through to the watch in order for it to show up in a complication or an app on your watch. That will be pretty significant.
Here's what I'm excited about. You can get Woody and Buzz, or what's her name?
I don't remember what her name was.
And Buzz.
It's Jesse.
This has
Jessie,
me.
yeah.
Jesse, that's right. This has me maybe wanting to go get another Apple Watch.
Are you serious?
No.
Okay.
And then a kaleidoscope one where you can't even see the time.
Didn't they
Yeah.
didn't they show something though that would allow you to see your most recently used apps? I would definitely like that.
That's the new launcher, the new dock.
New dock.
Yeah,
I would be able to
Yeah, so
kill processing.
it looks like they took off the time warp feature for that new dock. So this is interesting.
Well, that's a catch up to, believe it or not, to Android Watch. They have a feature almost exactly like that, only it goes horizontal instead of vertical. But so it's kind of something that they're borrowing. But all right, anything else Apple Watch related? I don't want to spend too much time on it because I think the real meat is elsewhere.
No, except that you see a lot of them everywhere. Apple can't sell enough of them. They really are selling a lot of these Apple Watches.
Yeah, they said they don't break out numbers, but you clearly see more people wearing an Apple Watch than any other kind of smartwatch.
Yeah,
I'm the rarity of someone who goes away from an Apple Watch to something else, but
you're not. I don't think you are really. I've seen a lot more Gear S2s around lately. Weirdly,
I've seen a lot of Fitbit Blazes lately. Believe it or
yeah,
not.
I think Fitbit is another one that gets a lot more. My father-in-law has a Fitbit. He's like about almost 70, I think, and he goes on walks and makes sure that he gets his steps.
Yeah, Fitbits are simpler and they're. Did we lose Kevin?
I think so.
We lost
Anyway,
him.
I'll finish my thought. Fitbits are simpler and they're less expensive, and so I'd be interested to know the numbers of Fitbits versus Apple Watches. Kevin, we lost you for a second.
For the Blaze, the Blaze or
Yeah.
the Surge, the models of Fitbit, are kind of the Apple Watchy models, but I don't think they go far enough as a smartwatch to really be better than an Apple Watch.
Okay.
But if you have an Android device and you're disparaged at looking at whatever is available for Android Wear, a Fitbit is probably the best. Fit is probably one of the best grabs. That's not an Android Wear watch or the Samsung.
Well, Android Wear is it's been a long time since I've used it, and Huawei just sent me their review unit of the Watch 2, which is arguably considered one of the nicest Android Wear watches. And man, that was a really tough 2 days that I wore that instead of my Gear S3. I mean, it's a mess. So I'm an Android fan. I like Android, but I'm not wearing that thing for much longer. I'm going to review it and then set it aside. So let's move on to Mac and macOS High Sierra.
High Church. It's called High Church.
Okay. What's the most exciting thing about High Church?
The most exciting thing to me is that videos won't autoplay in Safari.
That's if you use Safari, that could be exciting.
I use Safari and it's very aggravating.
Yeah, it is.
Especially on Facebook.
I do like the H.265.
What?
I do like the switch to H.265
Yeah, I
for
agree with
compression.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the licensing is on that, so we might have some compatibility issues for a little bit, but I doubt it. But just the fact that the bit rate's still pretty high, you don't lose anything off of H.264, and the storage is a lot better. So it's better for data transmission. It's better for storage on an SSD. It's better all around.
Well, Wes, maybe will you be able to just upload those files as you normally would to places like YouTube or Vimeo?
Well, that's what I was wondering. I'm not sure if YouTube accepts H.265. So actually,
yeah, YouTube.
I believe they do because it is an ISO standard. So,
they accept it, but YouTube does a lot of funky stuff on the back end. They end up they'll take just about anything, but they'll turn it into their format.
Yeah.
Was it WebM video or some nonsense like that?
Yeah, WebM like that.
Well, you are looking on my screen at.
Oh, look at that!
And it is
He's so brave.
It's very beautiful screen background. I'm not sure. To be quite honest with you, I I haven't played with this or looked at this enough to tell you what's new or interesting. So if you guys know, you can direct me. Or what should I look at, or what should I show?
And the biggest thing too is the change in file system.
Yeah.
Those are all under the hood though things, right?
But,
Yeah,
hey, Kevin,
everything in High Sierra is pretty much under the hood this time around.
Basically, leopard, snow leopard.
Kevin, does the the file system, I think, is a pretty big deal, and that's what
It's
I
a
had a
huge
question
deal, but
about.
nobody will notice it.
Yeah, but Kevin, did it convert your file system in the process of installing it, or is that an option that you do later?
It has never offered to convert the file system that I can remember.
Well, you ought to do a get info on your main drive and see what kind of file system it is.
Let's. By the way, you'll notice I don't know if you noticed that I'm clicking and then seconds later it's loading. So
yeah, I hear it's kind of slow right now.
Yeah, it's slow. They haven't optimized, so that's not. I mean, I'm not going to be mad about that because that's. I put it in our Slack chat and Wes chastised me. Well, come on, it's brand new. Like I didn't. I'm like, yeah, I know that.
It was brand new. It was beta 1. It's a developer preview.
Yeah, but you were chastising me like I didn't know what I was. And I thought, well, yeah, I understand that. I'm not.
Just making sure you understood. I'm just making sure you understood.
Huh? Yeah, because I'm not very smart. APFS.
Oh wow,
is the format
so
of my hard drive.
So it changed
it without asking?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Well, now you're kind of stuck. you can't go back.
I can reformat. Boot to a Sierra startup.
You can definitely go. You can definitely reformat and go back, but Apple file system is pretty much all Apple wants to support going forward. It has no 32-bit funness in it compared to some of the other stuff.
Kevin, remind me what system you have that on.
I have a 13-inch MacBook Air or MacBook Pro from 2015.
Okay.
So it's about 2 years old, and it's not a base level, but not a high end. It's got the I think I've got a 512 drive and 8 gigs of memory, if I remember correctly.
Well, I was very close to installing it, but I asked one of my coworkers, who's usually he's like just an inch more adventurous than me. We've had him on the show before, Mark Allison, and I said, go ahead, lead the way, put it on there, and then let me know if accordance runs, because we both work for accordance. So he did, and accordance runs fine.
What's the website that would normally autoplay a video that we could load?
CNN, any CNN site would do it. But anyway, accordance runs, and he says the other Bible software runs too. However,
which other Bible
today
software?
he was about to load he was about to lead a webinar, and a GoToMeeting would not run.
Yeah, it's Java
and
based.
so he launched Parallels. He launched Windows and Parallels, which would run, and he did GoToMeeting from that and did the webinar from that.
My brain hurts.
But that was enough for me to say, no, I'm not putting mine on there at all.
Well, it's too early, guys. I mean, it just came out. All of your favorite apps, they just got the code the same time you did.
No, I will not allow you to contact me. So
I hate that. Go to a website. Can it use your location or send you notifications?
Yeah.
Why do you need to send me notifications? You're a website.
No, that because it'll bug you to death. They'll let you know every time they have a new story. Yeah, I never let notifications come through on my computer.
I turn it off half the time.
So let's see here. My Logos wants to load in the background since I clicked it right when you said the other Bible software runs. So I hadn't yet opened it on this computer. But we're not getting anything loading on this copy of. I mean, it's just got the text right now.
Do you have any kind of
pop-up blocker
ad blockers or?
Of
course, really, the video is not.
I don't really use Safari, so I doubt that I have much of anything in here. I think I might have put LastPass on here, but that's about it.
It might also be that those videos are Flash based, and you may not have Flash installed.
I don't know what's Cambia Porta. I don't even know what that is, but it seems to be on my computer. Oh, it's from QuadroSync Helper. Okay.
I have no idea what that is.
Well, I actually removed QuadroSync. It's I don't even know. I don't remember what it is. It's something I tested a long time ago. So CNN's not automatically loading any video.
Awesome.
That's
so
good.
now the real test then is if I go to CNN in Chrome, will it? Well, I won't. I know it won't in Chrome because I have all that.
Of course, with all the betas, all these websites have 6 months lead in order to figure out a way around the.
So here the other Bible software load.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, I said other, not the other. I said other, which would also include Olive Tree, La Rosa.
I'm kidding.
So I just said other. That's what he told me. He said other software.
Yeah, I was kidding. I was sort of tweaking you just a little bit there. Okay. What else? Anything else about the operating system before we get to the hardware?
Yeah, that's really about it.
Well, there was one thing that might be of interest to creative professionals, and that is it now will support external video cards.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Running over the USB-C port. So I could maybe, like somebody, church media specialists who are creating high-end stuff might want to upgrade their, iMac with a better video card to run.
I wonder if my 2016 MacBook Pro would work with external video cards.
Well, if you're running,
I don't really need one
with a Thunderbolt port. I mean,
mine has that.
Should.
So, interesting.
Mine doesn't have USB-C. It's got Thunderbolt, but not USB-C. I don't know. Did they say USB-C or would the Thunderbolt 2 also work?
It's Thunderbolt 3.
Only 3? Okay. Well, now for the hardware, they did announce some new hardware that is. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now. That is now available. You can buy it today. Anybody running out to get something new, and as far as a new iMac, a new MacBook Pro, or a Mac?
I'm not getting anything new, but it does show. Apple did show that they still care about creative professionals with the stuff that they released.
And it will sound really nerdy, but I really like the new Magic Keyboard with a numeric trackpad.
I didn't even see that.
They didn't talk about it during the show, but it's out. I mean, I even got I got an email from Apple about it.
The only bad thing about that keyboard is they stopped selling the wired one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised about it. I was surprised they were still selling it at all. But I'm also surprised that they would even release anything with a numeric keypad. They seem averse to that. But I'll tell you why they did it. Because if they're going to be doing some of this gaming stuff that they're wanting to do, gamers always want the numeric keypad. Yeah.
Well,
even though I'm not sure how well.
If you're doing 3D development, you need a gamepad.
Yeah.
But I really don't like having a keyboard with a number pad attached. Even doing 3D, I always have an external USB number pad.
I use the little calculator app all day long.
Yeah, I guess I can understand
for work
that.
stuff, and I have to go across the row at the top, or do it with the mouse. I'd love to have that back.
That's why I have my little USB thing on the side, because it was always just so weird. Because I feel like I'm suddenly typing offset to the screen.
Yeah,
and it just
that is true. You need to kind of move it over when you're doing a lot of heavy typing. Yeah,
but I thought it was nice. I do. If I could afford the iMac Pro, I'd consider getting one of those.
Yeah, and as I said to you guys yesterday, I'll be really interested to see what the fully. Yeah, the $5,000 is the starting one. I'll be really interested to see what a fully spec'd out
one is. Probably there's probably 4 times more of the computer than I actually need. So I would have that for a good long time.
But what will the 18 core
MacBook Pros? First of all, it gives me a chance to shamelessly plug an article I wrote about it. Anyway, it's all about speed, right? Faster SSDs. They said up to 150% faster in the storage. Not better battery life, but just as good a battery life with faster processing, because it's Kaby Lake now, right? Which is 7th gen Intel. Core system, which I think that's a very positive, because Kaby Lake brings faster speed, but more importantly, more efficiency. So it's not going to run as hot. It's going to run. The battery's going to last just as long, even though you're getting faster. So they say up to 10 hours of battery life, which, it depends on how you run your system, whether you're going to get 10 hours or not. Apple often can be accurate if you run your computer like them with, about 60% screen brightness and
you're not compiling code or rendering video.
Right.
Yeah.
I
was rendering video for 12 hours.
Radio graphics, which GDDR5 chipset in the graphics, which means if you're running Final Cut Pro or something like that, you can get better performance. Set up to 3 streams of 4K video all at once.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, if you do that kind of thing, that's cool.
Well, I mean, for editing, it's amazing. That's great.
They dropped the price.
The iPad Pro already do that?
Yeah, but the iOS has just always been more efficient. So
They dropped the price on the entry-level MacBook Pro to $1,200, so it's the same price as the MacBook, which in my opinion means the MacBook, is that going to really, I don't know.
Probably.
That's just not a very popular system, I don't think.
It's not going anywhere. The Air is going away. According to a Reddit thread, the Air is going away and the MacBook is going to slot down to that.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake there. I think the Air has.
I had the MacBook, as you guys know, and it's wonderfully portable. It's just not very powerful.
Yeah. Well, maybe it will be now that it's got Kaby Lake.
Yeah.
And faster SSD inside. Of course, we already talked about Sierra, so we won't rehash all that. Anything else about the MacBooks? They didn't spend a lot of time on it.
They spent like 10 seconds on it.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk the new iMac. Desktop system, all-in-one, which some people love, some people hate. What do you guys think about this?
That is an awesome machine.
If I had money, or if ABC and Jay had money, and we want to do a lot of video editing, which is supposedly what we want to do, I'd get one of those in a heartbeat.
Yeah, so they made a big deal about the screen brightness. Much brighter.
I mean, just the fact that you could run 2 RAID arrays and 2 5K displays all at the same time is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about iPads yet, Antoine, so we'll get there. So, and the 21-inch is now 4K at $1,299. That's a very interesting thing to me.
That's not a bad price at all.
Yeah, for a 21-inch and a 4K display.
Well, the comparative Windows high-end and mid-end devices were $3,000 more expensive.
For what?
No,
for the Pro or for the $1,299?
$1,299.
He's saying for the Pro.
Then the Pro, yeah.
Well, that's
not the $1,299 one. No,
this is just the basic iMac that we're talking. The one you can get now.
Yeah, the specs are decent, but again, I see that as an AV computer for if somebody's looking to upgrade their Mac Mini, or their previous iMac setup, for their AV. This would be the right upgrade for them.
Yeah, it's a nice home computer.
But like the MacBook, they're getting the Kaby Lake 7th gen processor, faster SSD, but this beautiful display in both the 27-inch gets the really nice display. The 21-inch gets a nice bump in display quality for
that's
about the same price. So, I mean, if you're wanting one of these, an all-in-one iMac, which a lot of people are interested in them, I think it's a great option for your desktop system. So,
and the nice thing about a 5K monitor is that if you're editing 4K video, you can truly window it. So that's not my stomach rumbling. That's my dog growling at the floor.
But then they also,
I don't know if you could hear that or not.
They added USB-C to the iMac, which it didn't have until now, which is a nice addition, I think. Let's see. Anything else? Yeah, and this with High Sierra when it comes out, it'll support the external graphics card. Say that again, La Rosa?
The Ethernet port, 100 gigabit.
I thought they said 10 gigabyte.
10, whatever it was.
I thought they didn't even have one on there before.
Nope, looks like they do.
No, they did before. A gigabit port?
Yeah, my son had one.
So, but the new one is 10 gigabit.
Yeah, 10.
Wow.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, okay, 10 gigabit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. How many people have a 10 gig capable router at home?
I do have to say, someone pointed out the headphone jack, and their comment was, "How courageous."
How courageous to put a headphone jack in it?
Yes.
Sarcasm.
It was. I thought that was a brilliant.
Was that
use of
sarcasm? Okay.
Oh yeah, it was. I thought that was a brilliant use of sarcasm.
Now I get it. Okay, I didn't catch the sarcasm in your voice. Anything else you guys excited about or interested about? Here's the keyboard that Rick is all excited about.
Yeah, I don't like the keyboard.
I'm only just
Except I think I'm going to hold out for the space gray one that comes with the iPad Pro and get, because I assume they would sell them separately too.
no. They said they're not.
It's not
Are
selling
you
separately.
serious?
Yes, it
Oh.
only sells with the Pro. It's not coming as a separate
Christ.
accessory.
That's just
So
wrong.
you have to wait till Logitech makes it a copycat.
Yeah, there'll be
Jesus Christ.
copycats on Amazon in like.
Well,
3
there
weeks.
already are, aren't there? There already are wireless.
Because you remember,
Yeah, but now with
well,
their
you, I
switches
don't know.
and stuff.
I don't know if you guys remember or not, but back in the 90s, Apple made what they called their first Apple TV was a Mac that had a TV
Yeah.
card in it. And it was black, and they had a black keyboard and a black mouse. And you could buy those separately. And I came so close to getting that black mouse to go along with at the time I had the Wall Street PowerBook, if you remember, which was black.
Mm-hmm.
But they wanted $80 for a mouse, like in 1998.
Toosh.
So there's no way. Okay, that killed everything.
That's a
Yeah,
market
that
for
was
mouse these days.
All right. We can talk the iMac Pro is other than to say that it's ridiculously expensive for normal people, but for pros, what do you think?
If you're a pro, it's a great machine.
Okay.
But it's an incredibly well-stocked machine. It's going to make a lot of folks second guess the Surface Studio purchase.
These will be
It's
company purchases. This is the kind of machine that a company like a Pixar, or something. This is the kind of machine that there'll be a budget for. I doubt that too many individuals would buy these machines.
Yeah, and people with too much money on their hands will buy them.
Yeah, and I mean, like if you're like a freelance,
if you're freelance and
editor
you're
or something,
Marcus,
you're getting this.
Marcus Brownlee, I could see him having 2 of those.
Yeah,
you guys like that, on the indie side, but I know
but
some folks
for that it's just a tax write-off. So, but it's also really well. I mean, some of how many cores does it go up to?
18.
But
Can you
if
imagine
a church
rendering
purchases,
something on an 18-core machine? I mean, that would just be a pleasant experience.
that'd be awesome. But if a church purchases one of these,
Oh no, that's a waste of money.
like the youth minister, someone's not watching the budget.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
well, I don't know. And hear me out. My church is fairly large. I could actually see my church, and I say fairly large. We've got about 750 kids between 6 years old and 15. So I could see us actually pulling something like that off as one of our creative stations, probably in concert with our AV team, because we've got a 64-track board and a 48-track board in the children's ministry area. So I mean, we've got some pretty pricey software.
Yeah,
so
but
I could see us actually.
one of those new iMacs will do just fine for what most churches are. I mean, I can't imagine very many churches.
Yeah.
You're an outlier.
Well, no, our church is a bit of an outlier. We kind of have a whole production studio.
Yeah, but even
for
that, I
AV.
doubt that very many of them will need it.
I think I'll say about the new
we use it.
iMac Pro is that I'm really impressed with like the fans and the cooling system, that they can put all of that power in there and it still runs cool.
That's
Well,
amazing.
we hope.
And,
They wouldn't release it.
Apple's got a really good track record with heat diffusion. So
Yeah.
Well, but except the last thing that they put Mac and Pro together in for a desktop system didn't run very had
well, the
problems.
garbage can.
Yeah, that it had lots of stability issues for that
Yeah.
very issue.
And
Well,
RAM issues.
It did have RAM issues. People also kept on throwing things in the middle of it, which didn't help.
It's a trash can. I mean, why not?
They really treated it like a trash can.
All right, so now the thing that Antoine got most excited about, he left before we could talk about it. Come back,
He's
Antoine.
dead. Look at that.
Let's talk iPads.
I got a house guest that just smelled up the place.
Well, that's a problem. That
That's TMI for the
I really-
podcast.
I don't know.
Four-legged one.
All right. Who on this panel owns an iPad Pro? All of us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's going to buy the new iPad Pro?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
I'm off.
Maybe.
I'm-
I am very much considering the 12-inch 256 with cellular because of the screen.
You're not going for the 512?
No,
Why-
I don't need 512.
Why do you? What about the screen makes you want one?
I draw for a living.
Okay.
I do what every parent tells their kids not to do. I scrabble all day long. And because of that, pen responsiveness, the responsiveness of the pencil is probably the only reason why it stays in my hand. I still like the 53 pencil stylus better, but Apple stylus, the feedback that you get as soon as your pen touches that screen is unbeatable on any other device. It'd be unbeatable on a Wacom, unbeatable on a Cintiq. It's very impressive. And to improve that response rate so that you can do some more finer tuned items. I do a lot of icons and beveled corners and all that other nonsense. That would be definitely a productivity boon on my end.
And that True Tone display is really nice. I've got that on my 9.7 Pro.
Yeah, that is pretty. That extra color gamut. Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, the
it's
True
beautiful.
Tone is amazing. And for folks who don't understand what Antoine's talking about, is they doubled the refresh rate on the new iPad Pros to it's 120 now, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens is the screen's redrawing twice as fast, which means that you're getting a lot more response. So if you're drawing with the pencil, you're now getting update on the screen twice as fast as you were before, and it was already insanely fast.
Yeah.
And also things like animations are faster and things like that. So folks are
And
wondering
animations
what
are
that
faster. Well, it's not just even that, because now they up that pixel sense technology that they're doing, so the refresh rate can drop as low as 24 frames a second, 24 hertz, all the way up to 120 based on what's on the screen. So you end up with a really good color, on your screen. I mean, I'm watching, I'm doing our podcast on my iPad Pro, and I know the 9.7 would give me better color reproduction. I know that it would literally make, some parts of the screen would be, power hungry because they would be changing all the time for video, but other parts wouldn't change at all. So you would be getting a bit better battery life from a smarter screen, effectively a smarter screen. So I think this update to the screen, just that alone for me, is worth the update.
Whereas I sit and write all day, so it's not worth it for me.
Yeah. Whereas like for reading, the True Tone display is great.
Does this matter?
But I'm
10.5 versus a 9.7 inch. Is that significant?
I think that's significant.
It's the size is it's a half an inch longer, but it's like 2.5 inches more usable screen space.
Okay.
Because it was always with the 9.7, like if you were working with a PDF, the screen was always just too small.
Yeah.
And I mean just, because it was like I could still work on it just fine, but I would find myself going, I wish it was just a little bit larger. Just a little bit. And that's what they did. They made it a little bit larger. I don't think at this point I'd ever jump from the 12.9 back down to the 10.5.
Question real quick though, for those of us who aren't going to upgrade, who are going to stay with our current iPad Pro, is there any part of iOS 11 that's not going to work the same? I mean, granted, these screens are better, but function wise, it's still going to do the same things, right?
The first gen 12.9 inch iPad Pro, how much RAM does it have?
4 gigs.
Okay, so no, apparently everything will work. Because you need to have a 4 gig device for 3 apps to be running at once.
This is the new multitasking system.
Yeah,
I really like that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it works.
It'll be interesting to see.
That what they just did right there alone is something that's appealing to me. They popped the email open. Okay, that's cool, nice. Pulled it over, that's nice too. But look at that.
Yeah,
drag and drop for iOS 11 will
a picture or an image or something, or someone else did that you're trying to put into a document of some kind. That is slick.
Cripes, going from like someone sends me something in Slack, now I can actually use it.
Yeah.
Well,
so I'm excited.
I mean, you could always for a lot of apps, at least the folks that were using the image, so the correct image selector, you could do a copy paste. But this being able to drag is
that's
more
just
intuitive
quicker
to touch.
quicker.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, just for the iPad, for the hardware, the A10 Fusion chip is also new for both the 10.5 and the 12-inch, and that's the one. That's the new chip. That's the one that's in the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. That chip is powerful as all get out. Just from the AR demos.
So Antoine, we all understand why that's better, but just explain it for those who might not. Why is faster?
Well, it's not just a faster chip, but it's a more efficient chip. 3 cores for power, 3 cores for efficiency.
And so, what does that give you in real world use?
Real world use, you should probably see, batteries being equal, signal being equal. You probably can see easily an hour and a half more battery life.
Okay. That's what I was trying to get you to say.
Because it's not using as many cycles to get something done.
Right.
Yeah.
So your battery life is longer while your work is happening sooner. Because a slight speed bump probably.
It's a slight speed bump. I mean, it's going to probably be about the same battery life because the screen is about 50% brighter with this new Pixel Tech, and so you're going to use more power, but at the same time, it's going to be.
My Files app,
whatever.
I see. To me, the Files app is something that I've been hoping Apple would develop for a very long time. I'm really hoping that I didn't see on the presentation, but I hope they come up with an API that anybody can do it.
Yeah, they are.
And with that, you can have one of those like Wi-Fi Western Digital drives or Seagate, and suddenly, if I can now access video for a video library, suddenly editing 4K video on the iPad becomes genuinely possible. And that's really, I know you're showing off stuff.
I'm trying. My camera won't change enough.
Nah, you gotta lower your brightness, Kevin. Lower the brightness on your
camera. Is doing it automatically. I can't lower
No, on your phone. On your phone, lower the brightness.
Oh, okay. Well, let me show you this. Then. Okay.
Yeah, there
that's
you go.
The new control center, which is very busy.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I didn't like that.
I think it was because people couldn't find some of the functions because they didn't know they had to slide it over before. So now it's all there in one place.
It's really busy. It feels Microsoft-ish, and I hate saying
it is
that.
Microsoft-ish. It's Windows 8 actually.
Well, here's the thing, though. You can change it, so you can edit what's going to go in here in your system. So you can go back. And again, this is just what the beta shows. The beta might be just throwing everything in, so you'll see what's there. When the final shipping version may be a lot less, a lot more streamlined.
I hope it is, because that's I don't like that. I don't like that even a little bit.
You go into Control Center, which is again hard for you to see, but notice it's got the little red and green things to change what's in there.
Yeah.
So, for example, I should take. It won't let you. Some things it won't let you take out. For example, I was going to say I should take out AirPlay because it doesn't work.
It doesn't work right now.
But it won't let you take AirPlay out. But you can take out the flashlight, timer, calculator, camera, and home thing. If you don't use, Apple's HomeKit, then
you can take that out. Good.
By the way, HomeKit doesn't work either, because I do have this light that is overhead right here.
Yes, I mean, so you got a lot of those things are off right now, but
and it won't even show the status of that. It doesn't even tell me my light is on, which it is. It should the desk light, the basement desk light, should turn a color to show me it's on. It won't do it because
those APIs are probably not plugged in at this point.
It's just not working yet, but that's okay.
But to the hardware, iPads, decent update. If you've got an iPad that's 3 years old, you'll probably like the update. If you got one that's 2 years old, you'll probably skip it. If you just bought one last year and you get a new one, you're covetous and you should probably repent. I was speaking to myself there. I just got mine last year.
Well, you have a legitimate reason. You're an artist.
This may be. I don't know that I'll jump this time because I won't. I don't know. But anyway, here is the multitasking, which we've shown before, but we didn't mention the fact that it's kind of like a window, a picture-in-picture
And then you drag it over to the thing.
Yeah, it's Windows without Windows, which is good. You know, they took some of the better part from Windows Metro UI design in that respect.
You can bring a third app up if you have 4 gigs, right? 4 gigs of RAM.
No, it's not that you can bring a third app up. It does spaces, so it saves when you go multitasking in the multitasking mode. It actually saves your window positioning, so that when you come back to that app you was in, it'll bring up the side-by-side app that you had previously when you go from that third app back to the 2 apps you were on.
You know, we were talking before about this drag and drop situation of people giving you stuff that you could then input into stuff. But this is actually a little bit more exciting. You sharing things. You can like open your files, your Photos app and send stuff. And I wonder if My Files will let me send you a file.
I'm sure it will.
I don't know. That'll be interesting to.
Well, how do you bring up the new taskbar?
Double tap the home.
Slide up from the bottom.
Slide up from the bottom?
Yeah, you can double tap the home or slide up. Just like you would slide in the side on your iPad to bring the multitask switcher. So
the card interface is totally gone?
Yes, it's not for the iPad anyway. Yeah, it's spaces, not cards. So 2 rows of. I
can still do a 4-finger swipe up and see spaces.
Yeah, so you can see the spaces. The thing is, closing apps is now harder because you don't have the ability to flick them away. So the WebOS way of flicking apps away, that's gone away.
I like that.
What's the maximum number of icons you can put in the dock now?
There is no limit. They said unlimited. So really? The thing is, the last 3 or 4 icons seem to be reserved for whatever Siri/iOS thinks that you want to use. But everything else you can just toss in there. So actually, I don't have a good example of it on because I got my tablet up. But I mean, I do this with my bottom icons as it is now. But and then no icons up here. But I can see a whole lot more folks doing that, just having a row of icons, maybe not even in a folder. Especially if you're smartest icon.
I just tried to drag another icon into the dock on the iPhone, and it won't let me do it.
Yeah, I didn't see that being expanded. I thought it was just the iPad.
Okay.
Pro.
Well, I don't have it on my iPad just because my iPad has to work because it's a production device for me, and so if it's not working, I'm not happy.
Hey, actually, that's a really good feature you got there, Kevin. Because we probably don't emphasize that. Marking up a screenshot as soon as you take it.
Oh, beautiful!
I like that idea.
I think that's great. That is great.
Amazon did that with their app a few months back, which was freaking awesome. You take a picture of a screenshot in the Amazon app, and then ask you, what do you want to do with the screenshot? Yeah. But now, you get a screenshot and boom, you go right into an ability to go do something with your screenshot, including marking it up. I mean, to me, that's awesome. And if those screenshots don't save into your photo gallery, if you can say
that's what's great.
Save, that would be even better.
It doesn't.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It gives you the choice after you're through with it, whether or not to save it or just to discard it.
Oh my gosh.
And that's so great because I do screenshots for work all the time, and then I have to go back in
and delete them
and go through my photos and delete the screenshots.
Yep.
So I'm now sharing it to our Slack, although it just crashed. Slack just crashed. So it is a beta, first beta. And it's doing it again. It was fine. It was sharing fine. I shared a bunch of these with you guys earlier, but so I can draw on it. I can highlight stuff. Of course, you probably don't want to highlight in black. Let's highlight in red.
So here's a question for Rick and LJ. You guys, because you guys work for various Bible software companies. You guys, your apps, your mobile apps, probably don't take advantage of that feature right now, to take a screenshot of something and to go do something else with it. Could you guys see integrating that API or, to, mark up a Bible passage or something like that?
My understanding is that the screenshot deal works, just like it works now, that you can take a screenshot of, from what I'm understanding is you can take a screenshot of anything that's on the screen, mark it up, and then it'll ask you whether, after you've done whatever you want to do with it, send it to someone or whatever, it'll ask you whether or not you want to keep it.
Mm-hmm. It says delete screenshot or save it.
So I would think that would work just the way you can save a screenshot from Bible software or whatever now. Because like I said, I do it almost every day, just for marketing stuff. But as far as, one thing you're talking about that we do get requests for every now and then is, hey, I want to take, and I think we even talked about it here on the show. I want to be able to take the pencil and circle stuff and draw things on the text and that saving the Bible software. And that's a very tricky thing to do. Ours doesn't do that, but part of the reason is that because the text itself, you can change size and it can move and so forth. That becomes very difficult if you're putting overlays of drawings over it. It's not that it's impossible, but it would be very difficult.
Simply tap your home screen and it opens up your notes ready to draw on the iPad Pro.
I think that's really interesting. I still need to play more with the drawing tools in Notes, because I would wish I could say I want to set default thickness for.
Yeah, I'm such a Notability fan that I don't ever use it.
But you know what that reminded me of? It reminded me of what is it? OneNote on the Surface. Where you have the pen. You just automatically go into OneNote, and they've added some OneNote features such as being able to draw in the midst of text, just like OneNote's had that for a while.
Well, that one feature there of being able to tap the screen to just jump right into a note. I mean, I have a coworker who just started bringing his iPad to work, and one of the things that he sees me using with mine is writing notes, and that feature spoke right to him as he was like, "Can I do that right now? Can I just tap the screen and just start writing notes?" Because that's all he wants to do. That's all he sees his tablet right now as best use, as replacing his notebook, his Moleskine composition book. And so to be able to go right into a brand new note, right immediately without having to turn the device on, without having to navigate and unlock and go into an app, start new and all of that, but just go right into a note, that spoke really, really quickly to him. And that's an office setting, where you're going from meeting to meeting, room to room, and you got to be able to access those notes. So I could see something like that being pretty well off.
All right, so here's a feature Apple just Sherlocked Adobe on, which Sherlock is the term for they integrated a feature that someone else was doing, making that app now useless. Adobe just recently announced a new scanning feature with an iOS app. Well,
yeah, what was that app? I need to see what that app is.
ScanSnap by Adobe, but Adobe stole that technology from Abby, and Abby had that technology.
Well, ScanSnap is actually an Evernote tool. Adobe had I can't remember the actual title.
DocuSign.
That's it. So
DocuSign, but
iOS 11 has document scanning and signing built in. So
but yeah, I mean that's cool. But if you're using OneNote or Evernote, you already have that functionality.
So you'll be able to.
But I pay $10 a month for Evernote. I could drop Evernote now.
You can flick.
Yeah, you almost can.
You can flick the keys to get the symbols. Did you see that?
Yeah, you flick down, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, we'll see.
It'll come in handy for as long as other folks use the keyboard API correctly, because even now with apps, folks aren't using the API right, and you got all types of different keyboards.
Do we care about ARVR?
I do. Oh my gosh, that's going to be huge. I mean, I don't know what you guys kids are using iOS devices for, but all of the games, Lego and a bunch of startup companies that were at CES, this is exactly what they were demoing. So it was either drones, puzzles, Legos, puzzles, My Little Pony, Pokemon, you name it. Everybody was trying to do something with AR where they integrate the camera with some kind of physical device, whether it's something that the kids drew or it was a cutout thing or it was a paper airplane, whatever it was that they integrated with the device itself, so that they weren't just really getting screen time, but they were getting interactive screen time. That's going to be huge.
I tell you something that Google announced, that their I/O thing was the augmented reality feature where you point your camera at, like say you're on a busy street with lots of restaurants, you point it at a camera and it'll pop up, Google's stuff about a review of that restaurant and
Lenses, yeah, Google Lenses.
Google Lenses. Thank you for reminding me of that. Did Apple say anything? They don't have anything like that.
Nah, Apple's not doing that. Apple's not going that route with it yet.
So that's actually I'm sort of excited about that feature for my Android phone because I would find that interesting. If you're sitting at a place, sometimes we'll be looking for a place to eat, and you're actually at a shopping mall, and there's like 2 restaurants here and one over there. You can just kind of, I don't know.
Well, so there's nothing stopping from Yelp from using ARKit to point you in the direction of a meeting, or
maybe the app makers will build it in.
Exactly. So the difference being between what Google is powering that, literally from their data set, which is not
Here's something,
small.
guys. All that money you guys are sending me all the time, you can just do it through Apple.
Hey man, that's all right.
I thought that was the coolest thing I saw.
Person-to-person Apple Pay is really big. And here, Wes, this is the thing that I think I sent it to you directly.
No fees.
No fees. So
That's
if you are
killer.
Yeah, man. If you are doing a ministry fundraising engagement and there's whoever's the treasurer or whoever's keeping books is the one that's collecting the funds, I mean, literally, you can go right to an Apple-to-Apple device. It'll go right to an Apple card, Apple Pay card that's assigned to that Apple ID, and then you cash it out to whatever bank. And if you have it connected to a debit card, there's no fees at all. If you have it connected to a credit card, it's 3%, which is usual.
Oh man, this is going to be a wonderful thing for a ministry I'm a part of, Frontier International Mission College. We are actually, I've never ever thought I would ever do this. I'm starting a college. I'm not, but I'm a part of a group of people. We're starting a college, and in our college bookstore, we've been trying to investigate who are we going to use for digital payments. We could just use this.
You can't just use it. So here's your problem. It's only Apple only. So you'll still need to back it up. You'll need to back it up, But if you had this and you did Square, you're pretty much covered.
We can save that 3% for everyone who does have an iPhone.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, "Do you have an iPhone? Good. Do you have Can you do iOS 11? Do you have Apple Pay on your phone? Yes. Then pay us this way." If they say, "No, I don't have it," say, "Okay, fine. We'll just take your card." But that'll save us a lot of money with that 3%.
Does it? I know it said there's no fees, but it's person to person. Did it say anything about business to person or person to business?
No, it's person to person. So likely, what's going to happen that if you have, because it's going to be tied to your Apple ID. So if your Apple ID is probably a business account, you're probably going to run into some bugaboos, at least on the USA side, as regards to reporting for that, because there is no reporting element to Apple Pay right now. So Apple Pay is the only time you know that your report from Apple Pay is when you look at your bank account and you see Apple Pay XXXXX on that particular line.
And Antoine, should I sell my stock in Square?
No, you should actually keep your stock in Square. Square is not going anywhere. So Square
invested in it about 2 years ago.
Yeah, Square is good. Square is really good. I have Square. I did Square instead of Vimeo. I think this will actually kill Vimeo. It won't kill Square. Square has a very good merchant solution.
Yeah.
And it's very merchant friendly. It's very bank friendly. It's not going anywhere.
What's Vimeo and Square got to do?
Vimeo is.
Yeah, I'm thinking Vimeo is YouTube.
Yeah, that's a video.
Okay, Venmo, not Vimeo.
Yeah, Venmo. Excuse me.
I thought you said Vimeo. Okay.
But yeah, they're person to person, but they're more, will publicly show that everybody that you shared your money with.
All right, we're running long, so we haven't even talked about photos, which I think is cool. I'm a big, I use my phones for taking photos. Is that cool? The loops and the bounce and
the one thing that's cool is being able to select a still out of the live photo. So if
say that again, being able
you're just using the camera and you get how you have the live photos. Mm-hmm. If the shot that you got isn't the right one, you can go into your live photo and select the actual still that you want to be your actual photo, which is really nice.
That's nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is really great right now because I've got a little toddler running around, so the shot that you always get isn't the right one, but there's always one in the live photo.
Children, animals, and sports.
Yep.
Yeah. The App Store looks cool.
No.
The App Store looks like Medium, which is not a bad thing. It doesn't look like iTunes anymore.
Well,
The one
you're
thing I
wrong,
don't like-
Rosa. It does. So sorry.
Well, the one thing I don't like about it is it requires more scrolling to see less content.
Hey, welcome to the web.
It's not a bug, LaRosa. It's a feature. It's called responsive design.
I don't know if you, again, that's hard to see.
Scroll.
I will say this: the typography, the cleanup of the typography and the fonts on the website, on the apps, Control Center, on the store, very well done.
Cool.
Much cool.
My first reaction was, "Hey, that looks cool." I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm not seeing as much, but I don't know. I think it looks nice. So I'm wrong, LaRosa?
Well, I think like right now with the way the App Store is, I like being able to just open it up and see like 10, 15 different apps on the screen at once, where they can highlight different things. I can see it all at once.
Yeah, let's see what's the most we can get. I can get 6 at one time on this. So that's the most I see is 6 at one time.
Hey, there's a feature we didn't talk about because it didn't show up in any of the news. I actually just saw it today.
Okay.
For iOS 11, if you have AirPods, you can actually add a new gesture to the right earphone.
Don't have my AirPods in here.
Yeah, so if you got AirPods, so you can do the double tap, to play, pause, and Siri. But then you can also do another gesture to play, pause, move forward, or move back a track with the right earpod. So
will that be something I'll find under Bluetooth, or
it'll be
I find?
Go under Bluetooth, go to your AirPod, and then you'll see.
They'll have to be connected, right?
Yeah, right channel, right ear, left ear, and then you can select what actions you want to do in each ear.
All right, I'll have to look at that later.
So there's a few more dozen things like that little nuggets.
Updates to messaging, Siri. What else? I mean, we don't have a whole lot of time. You want to talk about
the one big one too to take note of is if you do like the iCloud storage, is the 2 terabyte storage that was like $20 a month is now $9.99, and
you can do a family plan.
Yeah, and coming with iOS 11, you'll have family sharing. Yeah. So instead of every person having to have their own iCloud storage, you can spend like the $9.99 for the 2 terabytes and share it among your entire family.
Yeah, and so that's what I'll do, because I pay $9.99 for me, and I think it's something like $2.99 for my wife, or $4.99 or something. So we could combine that, but at the same time, it still have her files and my files separate, right?
So 2 terabytes, you say is okay? Yeah, I see it. It's
2 terabytes is $10 a month, and it's a family plan. That's pretty dang awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah, they got rid of the 1 terabyte plan that was $9.99, but all the other prices,
which is what I had
remain
now,
the same.
Okay.
Which I really wish they would up the base from 5 gigabytes to 15. That would be so nice.
Well, they want you to buy it, so.
Yeah, but then they wouldn't have anybody buy it.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered. There's a ton of little stuff that we could go over, but I think we want to hit on one more major thing that they announced, and that was what, Rick?
Their Sonos speaker.
Thank you, Rick. Explain what you mean.
Yes, the poorly named HomePod, which is their Alexa, Google Home, Sonos competitor.
I don't. If they're going to go head to head with Alexa or Google Home, they're going to fail. But if it's just about music, I think it could, go somewhere.
It's about Siri. It's all about Siri.
Well, Siri sucks. So
no.
Compared to Alexa, Siri's horrible.
No, well, that was part of the updates as well.
That's not true either, Kevin, because Alexa can only do certain things.
But Siri can only do certain things.
Yeah, but
Siri doesn't do half of what it claims to do.
Well, it gets better though, and I think it's going to continue to get better.
Well, it hadn't gotten better for me. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Siri almost never.
I would like it to be better. I would like it to be better. I needed to be smarter, and I needed to be more proactive, nagging.
I just needed to understand what the heck I say.
That's that Jersey accent. That's that Jersey accent you got.
I don't have a Jersey accent. Get out of here. It's just wrong.
Hey, if I can go back to something, I just looked at my iCloud storage. I've been updated. I've been upgraded to 2 terabytes. When did this happen?
Probably yesterday.
I was paying $9.99 for a terabyte. Now I have 2 terabytes.
Probably yesterday.
Probably happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Welcome to the
and
new
they didn't even
world.
tell me.
What is the HomePod? Who wants to answer this?
It's the Sonos / Echo / it's really Apple's second voice only device. So
It's interesting to me that they sold it though as a music device.
Well, that's
When
the way
it's
they made it sound. At first, it was like,
Yeah.
this is a speaker. And then at the end, they threw in, oh, yeah, it works with Siri. And I think the reason they threw that in at the end is because they know that people just don't think Siri's that great.
I don't think that's it. I think they're trying to distinguish it from some of the other systems that are out there, and they can do that with music, with Apple Music, plus the speaker system that they're building into that. It was much better than the Echo.
It's definitely got more and better speaker setup than Echo and Sonos.
It should. We'll see. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. It should be better. Here's all the cool design and everything. No one's heard it.
From the
people
I haven't heard,
I guess, got to hear it, the developers and stuff. But half of the people that go to that thing are, in Apple's pocket. So I have a hard time believing them until I actually hear it myself.
Yeah, the only thing I haven't heard about yet, as far as the HomePod, is how it's going to work with the multiple iOS user family. When you say
they haven't announced
Siri.
it yet. Yeah, they haven't announced it yet. Brian Romedel, who does a lot of voice for stuff for a lot of companies, Apple included, said there's an update to come in regards to how Apple's going to be dealing with that. He's the one that called HomePod years ago, Twitter, patent drawings and all. But yeah, they're supposed to be handling that.
So if you got $700,
you get it.
you can put 2 in one room, and they'll know that you have 2 in the one room, and they'll balance each other. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, they're doing
for
$700, they ought to know.
Yeah, if I
Well,
was
that's
an
what Google-
audiophile, this would be something that was interested that would interest me.
Well,
I'm
Well, see,
not
this
an
is what Google Home
audiophile.
didn't do.
That's my question. See, I'm not either, and so I've even wondered that with the Echo. I mean, what would I need this for? Because I can say, hey, so and so, and it automatically hears me and can set my alarm for the morning or set a timer while I'm cooking or whatever. I don't know, for a person like me, why I would even want something like this.
It might not. No, I don't know, Rick. Like the way it's priced, it's kind of priced almost like the way the iPhone initially was priced. It's way higher than it needs to be for what it's doing.
Yeah, I think really is trying to hit.
Well, sure, but I mean, I'm not even talking about price. I mean, if it was $100,
It's still
I don't know
not-
what I would get for that I don't already have, since I'm not going to be playing music all the time.
Yeah, see, like I thought, I think the Echo is cool, and my neighbor has one, and we were, calling out songs to it the other day, and it sounded fine for me, but I have no interest in picking.
It's for
something like this up.
someone like me who's considered buying a Sonos speaker, but I don't really want the Sonos speaker because I don't get any of the Google Alexa functionality. It's just a speaker.
Yeah,
And-
that's right. It's if you want a nice speaker, which all things point to it being a very nice speaker, but you'd also like to have some of these other, Alexa style features in it, and you're all in on Apple, then yeah, you go with this. If all you care about is being able to talk to a device and have it respond to you with useful stuff, then you go with, you get an Echo Dot today. They're $50 or something like that, or $30 on sale, and you hook it up to a cheap speaker somewhere. That's what you get. Even the Alexa is too expensive now.
Well, I mean, say, almost look at me. I could almost purchase a HomePod if Amazon, if the skills that I have in Amazon translated well to what Siri could offer.
I would be more interested in this if it was a Wi-Fi router and Siri.
There you go.
And if Siri would work properly. That's the speaker part of it is nice, but I've got lots of speakers around here that sound good. And again, I'm not like you guys. I'm not an audiophile. I only have 60% hearing in my left ear, you know, and or my right ear, and that's on a good day. So if the air pressure goes up, you know, then my eustachian tubes swell, and I go about 40%. I have Meniere's disease, in case people are wondering what I'm talking about. So, you know, the sound doesn't have to be great for me to enjoy it. But like you said, La Rosa, you want that good sound, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so it's for you. It's not for me. It's for you, which is fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's for me either.
Well, this was fun, and we have gone, you know, past our target of an hour, which we almost always do. Any last words that any of you guys want to share, other than why do I look like Donald Trump right now?
Yeah, I'll share, and I think I said this yesterday when we were talking over Slack. I do think that this, for the iPad, this iOS update is very, very significant because it answers a lot of those issues. Someone's got a train coming through.
That's me.
It answers a lot of those issues that you know, people have said, well, I'd really like to use my iPad more often than my computer, but it won't do this. It won't do the drag and drop, or it won't do, you know, I don't have a file manager, or whatever the reason was. I think that this answers a lot of that. Now it's not there yet. I think we still need things like Final Cut Pro for iOS. I still think and I think that's coming. I think it already exists. They just haven't released it. I think we need to have Adobe equivalent apps, not the light apps, but the ones that are actually you know, equivalent, that you could do some of the same professional things.
Like that Affinity Photo.
Yeah. But you know, the thing is, I think that this really starts to move in the direction, because I've always thought that once the iPad was released, I thought that Apple saw iOS as the successor for the Mac, but you know, I think it's taken longer than what they thought. But I think the biggest problem has been Apple, not the, you know, there's some great apps on there, but Apple has kind of held things back because they had this very tight vision of what it was supposed to do, and people would say, well, that tight vision doesn't fit with what I want to do. So I think this is all very significant, and it you know, if 5 years down the road, you can do everything on this and more that you can do on a Mac, we may not see the Mac anymore. Which I think that would be fine. That's a legacy system. You know, I think that would be fine.
It's almost 25 years. It's 25 years old. It's time for it to go. I mean, 15 years old. Excuse me. So it's time for it to go. And that's not to say
I'll just say iOS is going to have to drastically improve. For me,
no,
I know, but I think this is a drastic shift.
Happy about losing my Mac. For me to be happy about that, iOS is going to have to drastically improve.
Well, sure. Yeah, I'm not saying, but this is the first big incremental leap that I've ever really seen.
This is the first step where it looks like it's going. What's
so big that leads you to say that?
Yeah, because I'm saying it's doable now. Everybody's issues is not to do with iOS 10. iOS. The issues have to do with the software. The software is all about the software. Is what are software makers doing or not doing in the software? Because what Affinity Designer has done is Adobe could have done that. That's not an iOS decision. That's an Adobe decision. You know.
Yeah, but it's not there yet. You say it's all about the software, but the software doesn't.
Yeah, but the things like drag and drop. You know, I mean, without drag and drop, not having drag and drop is a step backwards. You know.
But it is a small step, but it's not.
But it's a significant step, and for those who
improved multitasking, I mean that
multitasking
significant. I think it's a minor.
For the folks who need the file manager, I think that will be a big step.
Yeah, the file thing isn't that great. It's not.
Files is, I mean, as long as Files consolidates all of those different file services, yes, it could probably be cool.
Yeah, because right now it's clunky having all the different services.
Well, part of it too is part of the Files thing is it requires you using the iCloud storage on Sierra on your Mac. So if you're not using that, then the files on iOS doesn't really make.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using OneDrive, it'll show up there.
Yeah. I mean, Dropbox will show up there. Box will show up there.
Yeah, well, it's that, but it's also
Wait,
open
wait.
API.
You're
Files is
saying
open.
it will, or you're hoping it will?
No, it will. They
will.
showed it.
They will. They already will show that. Those all will
Because
be
it's open
there.
API. Like I'm hoping my cloud shows up there so that my home
cloud,
device can do it.
But it's not just that though. It's also apps can plug into the Files apps.
Right.
Pull stuff from everywhere else. So like Textastic, the coding app that I use.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for video editing, Antoine, is that I can put videos in here and now edit them on the iPad without having to have it on my local storage.
Well, let's hope that what they said is coming really comes.
Oh, and
Until it's
one
on
more
my
thing.
phone, it's vaporware. Right now, it's not on my phone, and
One more thing that's significant about it though is the 512 gigabyte option. You know, because again, if you're going to do video editing, you need that kind of storage.
Mm-hmm.
Really, you might even need. I think you even need to have external devices that you can connect to
if you're
it.
doing 4K.
But
Anton, if you're doing like an hour-long 4K video, you need an external device.
You've got to be able. You know, waiting for that to sync over Wi-Fi is miserable because I've edited hour-long videos on my iPad Pro, and it's great to edit them there. But when it's a 5 gigabytes file, that's a pain to get off of there. So I mean, they've got to have ways beyond just connecting with Wi-Fi to do that. But the 512 gigabyte storage, I think, is a big deal, and it's heading in that direction.
Yeah, it's definitely.
One of the things that somebody pointed out that shows there's a genuine shift that's going on in iOS 11, even if it's just at the beginning, is that for the last couple of releases for both iOS and Mac, it was always about iOS features getting into macOS. This is the first time you've really seen macOS features now getting into iOS. The polarity shifted. So
I think it's a shift in Apple, you know, because I think that they hoped that the paradigm that they had created with iOS would be enough to satisfy everyone, and it wasn't. So these are some concessions.
But it's the beginning.
Yeah, beginning.
All right. Well,
okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say
that did it.
Say let's call this a show. And for those of you who are sticking around, and those of you who have stuck around for 100 episodes of this thing, why? I mean, really? No, kidding. We're thankful for you.
It's like the clearest video you had all show, and you've saying that.
I don't know what you just said, but it must have been funny. But let me go ahead and sign off. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Theotek Podcast, as you see the link there, and also go see us at theotek.com, where we like to have fun posting the show notes, usually within 1 to 12 days afterwards. And that's my fault if it's late. Go to YouTube and subscribe to us if you'd like to watch. And a show like this, where we showed off some things, you might want to have done so. Otherwise, you can subscribe on the new podcast app that is coming in iOS 11 when it does. I haven't looked at it even.
I didn't know there was a new podcast.
Well, that's what I just read. I haven't seen it or heard it, but I read about it.
Yeah, this may look more like the music app.
Yeah, is that what the difference is? Okay,
pretty much.
Yeah.
But thank you all for being here, and guys, you got a one-word, one-sentence greeting to our people on the 100th episode. Start with you, Antoine.
See you in the future.
Lots of pressure on that, wasn't there? La Rosa?
Just keep studying God's word.
Amen. Rick?
Here's to the next 100.
All right. And Wes?
I think I'll go take a nap.
the most wise sage statement of all. I just want to say thank you. We do this for you. We do it because we enjoy it, but we also do it for those of you who are watching or listening. And so thanks. And we'd love to hear from you. So leave comments in the YouTube, or send us email, or whatever it is, however you want to get to us. Tweet us at Theotek Podcast, or any of our individual accounts that you probably follow. So good night.
Good night, everybody.